Tonight we'll journey through the shadowy corridors of real-life horror, where the ordinary turns extraordinary and the benign becomes sinister. We'll venture into the whispering forest, space with an unseen roommate, and face the curse of a haunted painting. Each tale a testament to the eerie side of reality, more bone-chilling than the last, so buckle up, my friends. We are delving into the eerie side of reality. Imagine a solitary traveler lost in an impenetrable forest, yet he's not alone. Today's narrative revolves around this daring wayfarer ensnared by an uncanny murmuring wilderness. What began as an ordinary hike abruptly morphed into a spine-chilling narrative of the inexplicable. As he ventured further into the forest, an unshakable feeling of being watched lingered. It was as though the trees themselves were sentient, their leaves rustling with an independent... Then he heard it. A whisper, soft and barely audible. It seemed to originate from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. Dismissing it as the wind's mischief, the whispers escalated, resonating around him. The words were unintelligible, an unfamiliar language, perhaps an antiquated dialect. However, the tone was unambiguous. It was a warning. His heart pounded in sync with the rhythm of the whispers. He desperately attempted to retrace his steps, but the trail he had followed seemed to have disappeared, as if the forest was shape-shifting, trapping him within its murmuring core. The whispers intensified, becoming more pressing. They appeared to be encroaching, surrounding him. The temperature dropped, the daylight waned. The forest seemed to be constricting around him with the escalating whispers, an invisible chorus emanating from the trees. Driven by primal fear, our traveler ran. He sprinted as if his life hinged on it, because it indeed did. As his energy began to deplete, he saw it, a break in the trees, an exit path. Gathering the last of his strength, he made for the path, with the whispers fading away, their warnings left behind. He emerged victorious, gasping for breath, his heart thumping against his ribs. The traveler escaped, but the murmurs of the forest linger as a frightening enigma, a chilling reminder that the most horrifying tales are ones we experience firsthand. Ever felt like you're not alone in your home? This next tale will make you think twice before dismissing it as imagination. Imagine this: you're living alone in your apartment, a cozy sanctuary where you feel safe and relaxed. But then things start to change. You notice your favorite mug is not where you left it. Your books are shuffled around, no longer in the alphabetical order you meticulously arranged. You think you're just forgetful, but then it escalates. One day, you come home to find your living room light turned on, a warm glow in the otherwise dark apartment. You're certain you turned it off before leaving. Later, you hear soft shuffling noises at night, like someone moving around. You sit up, heart pounding, but find nothing. Yet the eerie feeling being watched remains. Days turn into weeks and the strange occurrences don't let up. You wake in the middle of the night shuddering from a cold draft, only to find the window you never opened wide ajar. Your clothes are scattered on the floor, even though you remember hanging them up. The air in your apartment starts to grow heavy, tense, as if charged with an unseen presence. You decide to confront this entity. You stand in the middle of your living room demanding answers, asking it to leave. The room remains silent, nothing moves, nothing responds. Yet when you go to bed that night, you feel a sense of relief, a lightness you haven't felt in weeks. The next morning you wake up and everything is in its place. The strange occurrences stop. The eerie feeling of being watched disappears. But the memory of those chilling weeks persists. You can't shake off the feeling that for a short time, you shared your sanctuary with an unseen entity. It may have left, but the chilling memories persist. Art can captivate, inspire, and in this case, terrify. Imagine a painting that could bring you misfortune. A piece of art that could change the course of your life, not for the better, but for the worse. It sounds like a plot from a horror movie, doesn't it? But this is no fiction. This is a tale of a peculiar piece of art. The depiction in question is not particularly striking or gruesome. In fact, it's rather mundane. It shows a simple scene, a serene landscape perhaps, or a quiet, still life. Nothing to suggest the terror that supposedly lies within, but as we all know, appearances be deceiving. The history of this art piece is a litany of misfortunes. Every person who has ever owned it has experienced great sorrow and tragedy, accidents, illness, financial ruin, even death. These are the fates that have befallen those who dared possess this peculiar piece of art. The stories are chilling. One owner, a prosperous businessman, fell into bankruptcy within months of acquiring it. Another, a healthy young woman, was struck down by a mysterious illness. A third, a happy family man, lost his wife and children in a tragic accident. All had one thing in common: they owned this peculiar piece of art. Skeptics might dismiss these as mere coincidences, but believers, well, they think differently. They believe in its power to bring about misfortune, and they fear it. So where is it now? It's locked away in a private collection, hidden from public view. Its current owner, a brave or perhaps foolhardy soul, claims to be unaffected by its alleged powers. But who knows what the future holds? It remains, its alleged powers intact. Would you dare to own it? Our final tale takes us to a lonely lighthouse, where not all is as it seems. The heart of a secluded seaside town, perched on a jagged cliff, stood a towering lighthouse. It was a beacon of light amidst the pitch-black nights, guiding seafarers away from the treacherous coastline. But this lighthouse held more than just a guiding light. It was home to a spectral entity that made its presence known to one unfortunate lighthouse keeper. Keeper, a weathered man named Robert, was no stranger to the solitude of his occupation. He had spent countless nights alone in the lighthouse, with only the crashing waves for company. But one cold, stormy night, the usual solitude was broken by a chilling presence. The air grew thick, the temperature dropped, and Robert felt an inexplicable sense of dread. As he climbed the winding staircase to the top of the lighthouse, the echo of his footsteps was drowned out by another set of footfalls, following him from the shadows. The flicker of his lantern reflected off the dew-speckled walls, casting distorted shadows that seemed to dance menacingly around him. A feeling of unease washed over him, but he pressed on, attributing his fear to the howling wind and the solitude. Reaching the top, he lit the beacon, casting a warm glow out into the storm. But as he turned to descend, he froze. In the corner of the room stood a figure, as translucent as the sea mist, staring back at him. It was a woman, dressed in a weathered, old-fashioned gown, her eyes filled with an eternal sadness. His blood ran cold as he realized he was not alone. He was sharing his lighthouse with a ghost. In the days that followed, Robert was plagued by supernatural occurrences. He would hear whispers in the wind, see objects move on their own, and feel the cold touch of spectral hands. Despite his fear, Robert felt a strange connection to the ghost. He learned that she was the wife of a previous keeper who had tragically perished in a storm at sea. Her spirit was trapped, forever waiting for her husband to return. Fear turned into sympathy, and he dedicated his remaining years to comforting the ghost, reading to her and keeping her company. He never felt alone again in the lighthouse, and in a way he found solace in his spectral companion. The lighthouse stands to this day, a chilling reminder of its eerie past. We've ventured through the whispering forest where unseen forces whispered chilling secrets into the ears of the lone wanderer. We've cohabited with the unseen roommate, a spectral presence that lurks in the shadows of our everyday lives. Then, we gazed upon the cursed painting, a piece of art that held a malevolent power beyond our understanding. And finally, we braved the haunting at the lighthouse, a beacon of terror amidst the cold, unforgiving sea. Each of these stories, real accounts from individuals like you and me, serve as a chilling reminder of the unknown. The inexplicable events, the chilling encounters, the eerie happenings that defy logic and understanding. Fear, as we've seen, can stem from the most unexpected corners of our lives. But here's a question to ponder. Is it the supernatural that frightens us, or the unknown? If you enjoyed these spine-chilling tales and want more, don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Nightmare Chronicles on YouTube. Your journey into the unknown doesn't have to end here. By clicking the bell icon, you'll receive notifications of our latest chilling encounters. And remember, fear is best shared. So don't forget to share this video with friends who love a good scare. Until next time, stay spooky, my friends.